you're 19 or 20 or 21, you know that you believe that you're invincible. And
we had been warned quite extensively that we would suffer some pretty horrendous casualties.
When we got ready for D-Day, we were given photographs of where we would land and where we had to, as soon as we landed, which way to go.
And we were issued French francs. Our pay books were taken away from us. We were just left with our identification discs, which of course in those days there was 3 of them. One was fireproof, the other was for the Graves Commission, and the other one was if you were shot and killed or blown up, your buddies would take off your tag and leave one in your mouth so that the Graves Commission would come along and know who you were.
We were getting on ship, and I was here and he was way down farther, but I saw him and I waved at him and he waved back and he said, "Goodbye, John." And he's the first guy I saw dead on the beach.
The channel was solid with ships. So you could almost walk across on it.
It was marked out where the landing ships supposed to go, you see. And the other battleships, it was marked out for them to drop anchor and use their big guns. So everything was pretty well pre-planned.
The minesweeper had to go first and clear all the mines so that the other landing craft, the assault boats, and the ships that were coming in would be able to go into the beachhead without getting too much trouble.
The people just cleaning their rifles, sharpening up their bayonets and the knives, and make sure everything would work in order and your equipment all good.
We were landlubbers, and everybody was sick on that LCI, and the LCI is a small boat.
The barge was just buckling, bending, creaking, groaning, and everything was soaking wet, water coming over the sides. Oh, what a minute.
And we then got to the point you didn't give a darn where you were. You just wanted to get on shore, get off this thing.
You could see them looking down that they were dropping the gliders right across the enemy lines, and of course you're just mowing them down.
D-Day, we landed right in the middle of the enemy. When I was coming down with a chute, I could hear the guns going off.
They weren't interested in us as much as they were the ships that were behind us, the big ones. That's what they wanted.
In the first landing, wham! I looked and here the ship broke right in two, and the whole stern end of it, right straight up.
From the big landing ships, you go into small harbor ships, the landing craft, the small ones. You go down the rope ladder down the side of the ship.
It's kind of a rough deal. One man got crushed right between the ship and the landing craft as we were trying to get in.
Practically all our boats got blown up or had to go back because so much mines. But I remember on our boat that one of the guys got right up on the front of it and put his foot on one of those mines and pushed it back, or else we'd have been blown up too.
And then we got hit on the ramp, and it welded the ramp shut on one corner or one side. But the tank was the first vehicle to go off, and he hit the ramp. They loosened the cables, and he hit the ramp and broke it free, and it just dropped down, and away we went off of that.
I watched the first SP go off, and I waited to see if the front end would raise up. It did, and it floated ashore. And every one of our barge got ashore fine.
Landing craft beside us got a direct hit, and of course they lost a lot of their troops right there. Yeah. She was burned just like to a shell.
If you didn't get off, you pushed them off. And I didn't have to do it, but those fellows up front had to, or their own people had to. It's kind of sad. And a lot of them never made it to the beach.
Some of the water was too deep. The guys just went under, they couldn't come up. not with 65 pounds of weight. And some of them more than that, especially a man carrying a Bren gun and all these ammunition and everything, probably carrying over well over 100 pounds.
We jumped in the water, there was something here, for goodness sake. Almost up towards shoulder now. And you had a weight and you had a machine Bren gun or a rifle, you had to hold it in and waved in, you know. But that boat went up on that sand and just glided up there just like I've never jarred it, and I got 1 foot wet going ashore. But the first thing I saw was a body floating in and out there on the way to the shore beach there.
Then we were brave men. If there's any such a thing as a hero in D-Day, it was the first assault troops that went ashore.
My tank on my right was right next to me. We're both together. He hit a mine on his right boogie.
But as soon as they found out that we were on the beach, they started shelling us. So we moved pretty fast.
Well, one mortar hit the first gun of able troop. Of course, loaded the ammunition right away, swoosh.
So this flail tanks finally got in, and you got those flails going, and they were blowing mines up by the thousands all over the beach, and that was clearing room for us to get in.
The Germans had a big barricade up there, they had a bulkhead, and they had a machine gun. They had a bunker. And just as soon as they'd come off the beach, they could pick them off, slaughter them.
Then when we turned to go in, I was near the Cowichan, my friend. He got killed there.
But there was wounded everywhere and screaming and hollering and people in the water floating and
When you're dying, at least these guys were dying, that's what they said. You know, mama, mama.
Our job was to walk ahead of the convoy and move any dead bodies we might run over. And that was my first view of war.
You depend on each other, and if that dependency wasn't there, you'd be hopelessly lost right from the start.
The lance corporal of our brand group, he stopped me. I was in a path right in front of me was a mine. He saved me.
After we got so far in past these positions that were knocked out, we were told to dig in, and then another company come behind and passed through us, and they carried on the battle.
We just went as fast as we could up the road and got to the bridge, found the place, the little village, and took it, and we got into a firefight.
But then when we finally get on the tanks, we just, a lot of places we just bypassed them. We didn't stop for nothing. Only a couple of times you come on a heavy artillery fire.
You hear the bombs, you hear the whiz of the bullets, the shrapnels, and that goes hip, hip. You never know. Nobody knows when you're going to be hit, because the one that's going to get you, you won't hear it.
I was going up the road, and this chap waved, and I thought, that's friendly, isn't it? And I waved back, and he wasn't really being friendly. He was telling me, stop, stop, because just a little ways up the road, the Jerry's were, you see.
She had a handful of roses. She threw it at the tank, and one fell in the turret. I picked it up, and I put it on the gun mount, and it was there when we lost it.
We moved up from there up to just outside of Banville, set our guns up. And we were there, that's the farthest point inland anybody got that night. I think we were 7 miles in.
We had not one patient, 1,200 empty beds with hot water bottles in them. After I spoke with this man, I looked out the window. You could not see the end of the ambulances. Every bed was filled. 1,200 beds. Isn't that something?
Isn't that a terrible thing to hold somebody in your arm? You know, when he died?
You can never go to bed at night before thinking the guys who died. They're the one who saved my life. They're the one who won the war, not me, it's them. To give their life for the country, simple as that.